The story begins with our protagonist Subai exhausted, climbing a mountain, being teased by children for being weak, for he was tricked by his publisher into coming on this trip. While the guy stayed comfortably at home, while thinking of a way to get revenge. The iron bar he was leaning on broke and he ended up falling down the cliff. After waking up because of the great pain he felt in his body, he realized that his hands were tied, and in front of him was a beautiful girl, with saliva dripping from his mouth, while saying in a strange language that he had very tasty meat and that it would be fatty when cooked. When Subai heard him, he became desperate, but when he thought that this would be his end, the feline girl cut the rope that tied his arms, and mentioned that even if he is hungry he will not eat any person. When he got a better look at her appearance, Subai noticed that he had ears and also an animal tail, finally realizing that he had been transported to another world. And being a novelist, it was not difficult for him to accept this fact. Then looking around, he was surprised that this place seemed to be somewhat backward. As he looked outside the hut, he saw several humanoid beings that looked like animals. And seeing this, he confirmed that he was transported to a world where society was still primitive. The next moment, the girl's father appeared, who is also the chief of this village, and asked him what his purpose was in coming here. But Subai could not understand his language, so he has no idea what they are talking about in front of him. Because of his thin and delicate appearance plus the fact that the sorcerer wanted to meet Subai, the village chief thought that Subai came from a big village. And when they went to the sorcerer, the villagers were surprised, as he had no horns or wings. He realized that they only looked at him with curiosity and had no desire to eat his flesh, so they must not be a tribe of cannibals. Besides that, they let him rest, and they must have no intention of harming him. In another scene, the strongest warriors of the village are shown saying that they need a new sorcerer, but everyone in the tribe was tested, and none of them had magical talents. The only one left to test was the strange fellow they found 3 days ago. So with no other choice, they asked to bring the outsider. When Subai entered the tent, he noticed that the old man is the leader of this tribe, and seeing him weak, he planned to take him hostage if things went wrong. But as he looked into the old man's eyes, he felt his soul. He felt that his soul was leaving his body. And in this strange dimension, a fire dragon appeared together with the old man and explained that this place was inside his soul. Then the old man transmitted the language of his tribe directly to his soul. After opening his eyes, he mentions that he will be part of this village as their new wizard. The news spread quickly when the other villagers found out. They were happy, since the tribe will survive and they will not be treated as outcasts. Then the girl named Jean Chua said that from now on she will take care of him. So she explained to him that his tribe is called Janon, and the strongest of the tribe is the sorcerer. But if there is not one, then the tribe will be destroyed. The second in command of his father, the chief of the village, followed by the hunter captain, and lastly there are the soldiers who protect the village. Previously they all lived in an ancient fertile land. They did not have to worry about water or food. There were 300 people and with 65 soldiers in the hunter group. But half a year ago they were targeted by the Black Snake tribe. Many of them died and their land was taken away from them, forcing them to migrate to this desert land. That is why he aims to become stronger to save his comrades who were captured and regain their ancestral land. As Subai walked through the village, he saw that most of the people are thin and pale from malnutrition. Their environment is very poor plus poor hygiene, which causes it to be easier to get contaminated with bacteria. If a pandemic broke out, a great disaster would occur. Desperate, not knowing how to fix it, he heard a robotic voice in his head. It was telling him that the daily help system was activated. If he registered daily, he would receive a random beginner help package, and the rest of the packages would be unlocked in 1 year after activating the system. But if they don't solve the problem now, in 1 year they will all end up dying. Interrupting his thoughts, the girl took him to the hut where he would be his new home to rest. He quickly settled down on the bed to take a nap. But while lying down, he smelled a milk smell coming from the bed. Suddenly the girl jumped on Subai and told him to stop sniffing his bed. There he realized that the two of them would live together. He ignored the fact that she had horns and animal ears, as she has a beautiful face and a perfect body, so he agrees to live with her. The embarrassed girl told him that she would not stay long because tonight she would go on patrol. After her departure, Subai logged her first day in the system and got an intermediate assistance package, from which she got the healing skill level 1, and the more she uses it, the more it will increase in level. Then when she checked her current status, she realized that it was not enough to survive in this tribe. In another place, the old man is shown saying that no matter the origin of Subai is unknown, he will become the new sorcerer. The reason for the urgency is because his body will only hold out for a few more days. And seeing the old man's bad condition, the village chief was frustrated because of his weakness, for the sorcerer was wounded. By protecting the tribe from the attack of the black snakes, the elder told him not to worry. Instead, he must prepare the succession ceremony in 3 days. And he does not have to worry that it is some spy. He told him not to worry because he checked his soul and found no evil in him, but that he was as clean as a river and might belong to some legendary tribe. Just as the chief was about to make preparations, the old man stopped him and mentioned that the descendants of a sorcerer usually have extraordinary talent, so it would be better if the tribe had many generations of sorcerers. Being more specific, the elder wanted Subai to have more descendants. Then when the village chief was leaving the hut, he saw his daughter trying to eavesdrop on his conversation, but he did not care and told him that she had to marry the young sorcerer and have several children. Upon hearing this shocking news, her brain short-circuited for a few seconds. Upon returning to normal, she says she will only marry someone who can beat her. But her father told her that there is no one in town who can beat her. Besides, she is already 19 years old and at the age for her to have children. The girl says that instead of having children, she prefers to become stronger so she can take revenge. The next morning, Subai is shivering from so much cold, and looking at her new home, she saw that it had many holes. While trying to plug the holes, the girl appeared, and looking at him, she started to imagine her life having her children. Embarrassed, she slapped him several times on his back, which almost killed Subai. All he wanted was more straw to plug the holes. Realizing this, the girl offered to help him. As he went after her, he saw 2 girls sleeping, shivering from the cold without any blanket. The girl explained that most people have no home and animal skin is very valuable, so they have to hunt themselves if they want to have a blanket. Then Subai brought his straw to cover the 2 girls, and seeing this, the girl said that being the sorcerer, he was much more important than them. He stated that all people are equally important, and saying this made her more interested in him. Then in the evening, the home team returned from their mission. With this news, all the people came out to greet them and were happy that they did not have to go hungry for a while. As he watched all this, the girl explained to him that most of the meat is distributed to the warriors. A small part goes to the reserve soldiers and the children. But the women and elders only eat from time to time, where they also pick wild fruits to eat. With this information, Subai got an idea and asked if they ever tried to grow crops or raise animals so they would have a source of food. Clearly, being a person from a primitive era, she did not understand the reason for taking care of animals when they do not have what they need to eat. When she thought of an easy way to explain it to him, the home team leader congratulated her for finally finding a husband, but she embarrassedly denied it. She said that Subai was the sorcerer's heir. The home team members, upon hearing this, offered her what they had married. Before getting a wrong idea, the girl told him that they only do it because he is the future sorcerer. Even a boy gave him his food, but Subai only accepted what the hunter gave him. In the evening, the girl asks him why he did not accept the meat, for it is an honor for the boy to offer the meat to the sorcerer. But he replied that he would not feel good to receive the food from a small child. As he said this, he noticed that she was looking at his meat and her stomach kept rumbling. When asked if she wanted some, she refused, saying that she could not eat the food of the sorcerer's heir. Of course, she did not hold out for long and said she would only take a small bite, but ended up eating more than half of the meat. Subai ate the rest, but she said it would taste better with a little salt. Realizing this, the girl offered him the salt she was saving. Losing her territory made it harder to get it, but she managed to save some salt from her old territory. Hearing this, he realized that salt was something valuable in this primitive society, so there was no way he could accept it, so he returned the room to the girl. As he was thinking a way to bring the village out of poverty, she tells him that every 15 days the leopard servant tribe open a market, and the nearby tribes come to them to buy various things, but it is still 10 days to the next market opening. Upon hearing this, Subai decided to go and have a look at the market to learn more about the world. Soon after, the village chief warned him that the sorcerer was looking for him. Upon seeing him enter the hut, he entrusted him with the last moments of the great sorcerer. And he was not the only one, as the other warriors also noticed that the day had finally arrived. They were saddened by the departure of the person who had cared for them since they were children, since they considered him as their own father. And at the same time, they prepared to welcome the new sorcerer of their tribe. Inside the hut, the elder explains everything they need to know for tomorrow's ceremony. He tells them that the sorcerer is the one who protects the future of the tribe and guides them in the best direction. In this world, the power of the totems is the basis of a tribe, and they are also different from the other tribes. Only the sorcerer can control their power and activate the mark in the blood of the warriors. Besides the sorcerer, the warriors with the marks are the strongest people of each race and have great potential, because everyone has a lot who their blood. However, no matter how talented the warrior is, they will not be able to evolve naturally if there is no sorcerer who can guide that power. That is why the presence of a sorcerer is very important. In fact, everyone has the Kai power in their blood, and with the help of the sorcerer, even the weakest person can become a warrior. Also, if a person accumulates enough strength in their blood, they can be promoted through a ritual. The reserve soldiers can deal with most of the beasts, but outside the tribe there are many more powerful beasts, and only the strongest warriors can deal with them, even if there are few of them. They are the pillars of the tribe, and for a tribe to be strong depends entirely on the number of warriors they have. The sorcerer's abilities are not limited to just training warriors, but they also create something called the sorcerer's domain, from which he handed a scroll to Subai where it contains all his knowledge. When he opened it, he saw unknown words, but out of nowhere the letters started to glow, making him dizzy. The sorcerer told him that he won't be able to read it for now, but when the succession ceremony is over, he will understand its contents. Each domain is engraved with a spell, and only with his magical power he will be able to activate it. Of course, there are several types of magic such as poisoning, healing, and blessing spells that can increase strength and speed. The old man specializes in healing magic and some other blessings, and he must remember that a sorcerer can never reveal his skills to the public, because although he is much admired, it also makes him an easy target. Then the elder told him to keep the scroll secret, as it is the tribe's heritage. And as he finished saying that, suddenly the elder started to spit blood. Desperate, Subai tried to use his magic to heal him. The sorcerer told him not to waste his energy on him, since his body was very exhausted. The only thing he regretted was not being able to see the things his successor will create in the future. But before leaving this world, he will use his last strength to finish the succession ceremony. After waiting 63 years, the time has come to appoint a new sorcerer to lead the tribe. At the beginning of the ceremony, the strongest warriors offered their blood according to the elder's request. It flew to the sorcerer, where a sphere of blood was formed, and with that the totem was completed, to then become a golden dragon, which then entered Subai's body. And to finish the ceremony, the elder passed him the true heritage of the sorcerers. The sphere contains the history of all the sorcerers and the secrets of the totem. When the sphere entered his head, his soul was transferred to a strange space, where he saw the memory of a child walking in the desert with his tribe for 2 days without eating anything. At nightfall, Subai used the artifact of his tribe and asked the gods to show him the future of his race. To make such a request, he used many divination potions and ended up committing a great taboo. That is why the heir best qualified to make the sorcerer would not live long. Even so, he did not regret it, because he managed to see something wonderful. Seeing his son in that state, the sorceress used her magic to heal him and also gave him some advice, that whatever he saw would be his secret, and that he should not be at the command of that prediction. Instead, he should keep it in his heart until that day comes. For now, he should concentrate on becoming stronger to lead his people. The boy, listening to what his mother told him, vowed to be a great leader while waiting for the arrival of the person who would lead the tribe out of poverty. Years later, he became the new sorcerer and won the admiration of his people. A few years later, the beasts attacked his tribe, and on that fateful day he ended up losing his son. He began to wonder if his vision was correct, for after a long time his savior had not yet arrived. However, as he reached his old age, he still held firm to his belief. But the Black Snake tribe, taking advantage of the fact that he was no longer in the prime of his youth, attacked his village. Living up to his title as the strongest sorcerer of his generation, he managed to save his people and lead them to safety. The reason he stood for so many years was because the person who would save him had not yet appeared. But some time later, when the sorcerer saw Subai, he realized that the day had finally come and his wait had been worth it. After he finished looking at his memories, his soul came back to reality, and he apologized for making him wait too long. The old man did not blame him and handed over the future of his tribe to the person who will bring him out of this suffering. And so he is able to rest in peace, having succeeded in completing the mission that was rooted in his heart for his whole life. The next day, we see Subai waking up in his bed because he fainted when he received the inheritance from the old man. As he felt the power coursing through his body, he understood that the totem is magical power that evolves along with the user. Now his vision has greatly improved and his body seems to have gained inexhaustible strength. Upon checking his status window, he saw that his stamina, strength, and speed doubled. He also realized that magic power and his spirit have similar values, so the system explained to him that magic power is the change of his spirit power. After doing his daily check in, the system detected that he had unclaimed packages. Upon checking them, he received a fruit knife and a book on linen textile crafting. Subai was disappointed, as only the craft book would be useful to him, as most of the tribe people wear animal skins. The next moment, the village chief appeared, saying that he must move to the main tent, as from now on he is the sorcerer of his tribe. He agreed to live there. But first he asked him about the old man's body. Then the lion warrior appeared and said that they followed the will of the ancient sorcerer, burned his corpse, leaving at the end a relic of his body. When he received it, he proposed to build a temple in his honor when they managed to recover the ancestral land. While in the main tent, he asked about the amount of food in the tribe. The lion warrior replied that there was not much meat left, only enough to distribute among the warriors. They need them, because in the migration many of them were captured by the warriors of the Black Snake tribe. and they may be dead or ended up as slaves. Understanding the threat of that tribe, he asked if they were close by, but they told him not to worry about them coming to the territory, since this land is a bit barren and they don't like the place. Also, there are not many beasts near the home ground, so one must travel to find prey, and it takes about 3 days to get enough meat. These conditions make them bad and good at the same time, but it also means that they will not be easy targets for those who want to attack them and will be able to develop in peace. Of course, for Subai, it is not a good idea to depend only on hunting for survival. That is why he planned to use other resources as a bargaining chip instead of just using meat. While thinking about it, he remembered the book he received and asked if they knew about linen. The lion replied that it is something rare and only the big tribes can create it. His wish as a young man was to have linen clothes and leave it for the younger generations. The village chief also mentioned that they wanted to make this kind of clothes, but after the migration they didn't have much meat to use as a bargaining chip. And every time the flax comes to the market, it is sold quickly. To buy just one roll this long, you need to trade 300 pounds of meat. Seeing this, Subai knew instantly that this was a terrible monopoly. So he set his goal, which was to use flax to make it so that everyone in the tribe could eat meat. Then we are shown a wolf warrior complaining that he was looking for herbs instead of going in search of prey. So the lion warrior gave him a hard blow on the head and told him they were doing this for the future of his tribe. Then he remembered when Subai said he knew how to make flax, but he must be careful that no one from the outside finds out. Otherwise his tribe will become the target of other races. That is why he gave the lion warrior the mission to look for a certain plant when he goes out hunting, which was the material needed to make the linen cloth. The lion warrior replied that there was not much meat left, only enough to distribute among the warriors. Subai was very worried because the meat was only enough for 15 days. And since he had little time, he did not know if he should personally teach everyone how to make linen, since his method of making linen was a secret and he could not tell them so easily. But if he had a proper assistant, he could teach him the complete steps, and then have him teach the others step by step. Other than that, there are still many problems in the tribe, such as clean water, salt, and the hygiene problems. Just thinking about it gave him a headache, as he was just a simple writer who couldn't even take care of himself. When he was down, the girl appeared and was worried about him. So to find out if he was sick, she leaned her forehead against his, making Subai quickly move away from her, asking her what she was doing here. The girl tells him that she was outside the tent to keep the wizard's safety, but hearing Subai say that she is not trustworthy, she got angry and applied a key, telling him that she is the strongest among the reserve soldiers. After getting him to let go, he asked her if all sorcerers had to deal with these things, and the girl tells him no, since everyone had an assistant. But he died in the fight against the Black Snake tribe. At knowing this, he asked her if she could recommend someone to help him. She told him that he should choose a Miko instead of an assistant, since a Miko is a woman who always takes care of the wizard, doing housework, giving instructions, and several other things more. For this world, a Miko was like the sorcerer's wife, but she did not mention this last part. So when Subai asked who would be the right person for this position, she with a dejected expression says that she has someone in mind. So we are shown a memory of the girl where her father was telling her that the new sorcerer would need a Miko sooner or later. But seeing his daughter hesitant, he asked her if there was anything she hated about the new sorcerer, as it is a precious opportunity, so she must get it. The girl replied that she does not hate Subai, and also that becoming a Miko is the dream of many tribal women. But she would have no way of revenge if she becomes a Miko. So no matter what happens, she will continue to be a tribal warrior, so that she can wipe out the bastards of the Black Snake tribe. When she finished remembering this, she came back to reality, realizing that Subai was calling her name. Then she took him to see her friend, and when she got to the right place, she saw 3 people working. But he only concentrated on looking for the girl he had described. It was very easy to recognize her, as she had the ears and tail of a fox, besides having a beauty that stands out quite a bit. This girl will be the person who will help him with his plans to lead the tribe in the future.